Okay, so we're on to round two. We have Cameron Neal versus Juan A, and he's actually going to be our first pure snake guy of the day. Now, a lot of people think this deck is going to be better in the TCG because we do not have Max C. The main reason I think why people would play it. There's not really much going for it exclusive to the TCG besides that. He's going to start off with Bonfire for Ash. Does Cam have Droll? No. We do see that Cam is playing Effect Veiler as one of his hand traps. I like Effect Veiler a lot. I'd rather just stop my opponent and hopefully brick them.
Like, you have to kind of really pick and choose your field, and until you have that information as to what your opponent's playing, it might.
Of course, we Veiler the Ash.
Well, speaking of information, after that bonfire was activated and slapping the Snake Eye Ash on the field, unfortunately its effect was negated by Effect Veiler, and a beautiful copy of that.
Snake Eye Ash, when it gets hit with something along the lines of Infinite Impermanence or Effect Veiler, it seems like it would really end the turn because there's not much you can do with it. You can't even use...
Then we see Magician Souls, send Black Witch. Yeah, this is another cool thing about this deck. It gets to play Magician Souls. Definitely makes it a little weaker to Droll, though. I wonder if he's playing Where Art Thou as well.
Get your way to a Charmer if your opponent has a graveyard, and get yourself to that Promethean Princess to bring back the Snake Eye Ash.
Definitely the card of the hour. And speaking of cards of the hour, it's great to see Magician Souls on the field, having sent that Diabell Star to the graveyard. She is a level 7 Dark.
So that's interesting. He sends talents, so he has to have another talents in hand. Because why the hell are you sending talents if you use a monster effect, like you could just draw 2 cards. I'm surprised he doesn't draw 2 first, but I guess he wants to see, because he already used Bonfire. So the only real card he can draw here is Black Witch maybe, or yeah, I don't know what you would want to draw where you wouldn't want Magician Souls first because you already used Bonfire. I'd rather just draw 2. Maybe I hit like Divine Temple and then I can use Souls after. I feel like that just seems better. Or even, like, I'd probably want to hit Black Witch because then I can just keep playing. So maybe even Talents before I summon the Magician Souls, I think would have been good.
Does kind of work.
This is very interesting. We see the Magician Soul send the 1 copy of Triple Tactics Talents, which almost certainly means you have another one, because at the very least you would just activate it to draw 2 instead of just draw 1. So here we go.
Ah, there it is.
Yeah, so I don't know. I feel like it was just, like, too hopeful that he top decked Black Witch, even using his Souls first, that, like, I don't know. People don't draw 2 with talents enough. I think...
But it looks like we're going to draw instead.
Yeah, that's... When you have to use the draw 2, that feels like the desperation move, right? I feel...
Like, yeah, alright, so that statement is just wild. When you have to use the draw 2, that feels like desperation move. Like, the draw 2 is broken. Like, that shit is pot of greed. Like, I'd rather just draw 2 than look at my opponent's hand half the time. Like, because I can just play through hand traps, like, by my damn self. Like, I know how to play through them. I know how to play around them. Usually they don't do anything if I have extenders. Like, even if they... I've gotten hand trapped twice with this deck so many times, and then I'd still end on, like, Savage Dragon, Baron, DeFleur. Like, I don't know. I love drawing 2 off talents. Fuck, looking at their hand as a 1-for-1. Why go 1-for-1 when I could go +1? Obviously... It's really good if you already have like all your plays, because then you can look at your opponent's hand and then play around the cards in their hand the following turn. I think that's the best part about it, is just seeing your opponent's hand. But I don't think like taking a card matters that much. So we're going to draw 2 and still go SP Little Knight pass. I think we should have talents first. We would have had probably an extra card off that Magician Souls. Maybe we could have played with it. Also, we could have top decked Black Witch if we used the talents before our Magician Souls. So...
If you were able to bring that back, it can really get things moving. But Cameron just pensively staring at his hand, figuring out what we're going to play first, and it looks like...
I just missed it. He actually banished his own Snake Eye Ash to block the Hida.
Yeah, I mean, like, bro. Yeah, and then he banishes his Ash for the Hida. Oh, he has Chalice. He's playing Chalice. Chalice isn't, like, the worst card right now. Imperm is pretty good, so, I fuck with it. Yeah, but best believe if I'm playing with Cam's hand, I'm playing through this SP Little Knight like it's nothing. I'm playing through probably like 1 or 2 hand traps too. This hand is so good. The fact that we have Poplar too as an extra fire, we can destroy Poplar off island, special the Grunix from hand. We can we'll actually probably use the Black Witch, putting the Grunix in the graveyard before we do that. So it's kind of like our Grunix is just a free discard fodder for our Black Witch. And then our Poplar being in our hand gives us an extra monster and another body for the spell trap zone and just another level 1 fire for Flameberg. I mean, it's just like gets so insane from here, especially if we're playing Oak. We have access to literally everything through this chalice.
That little knight that's staring him down.
Well, we saw earlier in the tournament how important Arvada on the field can be. It will even force your opponent to enter the battle phase just to attack over it, just to keep yourself from getting locked out of those precious card effects.
Chooses to use Island before the
about his next play from there.
Chooses to use Island before using Black Witch.
Maybe in the situation that is the only fire monster that Cam has. Will Juan take that?
I'm assuming he's just gonna use the Black Witch
Gonna go after that Snake Eye Ash.
to play through Nib.
But if he's got other cards, well, let's see.
Yeah, giving up the Poplar there also.
Yeah, because I guess he doesn't have Ponex, so his Grunix isn't even going to do that much. And then it's kind of like the same thing. The Poplar is just going to be a free send for the Black Witch again. He adds Arvada. Oh, and then he's going to Kieran back the Arvada. I like that. And then he just kills him, right? Yeah. What's this going to be? 3,900 plus 18, 4757 plus 25 off the Black Witch this game. Very clean play by Cam. Does that play through Nib as well? I believe so. I believe this is going to be our 4th summon with the Black Witch. Damn, Cam is so nice, man. He just plays so clean.
So you are now protected from something along the lines of Effect Veiler, which could be very powerful here. You know there's not... well, at least
the only thing that would suck if you did this play is you can imperm Garunix in the battle phase and just not die. That'd be kind of wild.
Maybe to surprise your opponent, but then you wouldn't get that powerful effect if it was set. So I feel like it probably would have been set on the chalice. Look at the face down card.
Oh, Cam's gonna play around that, I guess.
Our original Sinful Spoils and go ahead and grab something from the deck.
I imagine because you already gone through your entire factoring engine, this is just going to be a Snake Eye Oak at this point.
Yeah.
Look at the Poplar, but you're absolutely right. Here comes
I really don't know.
Going to be able to go after the
No, you have to use the original here because say he plays like Bestials in his pure Snake Eye deck, our Arvada would have to destroy our Garunix to like get game still. So this way we can just pop Oak or Ash with Arvada instead. But I would definitely try not to waste the clock as much as possible if I were Cam.
Island again, if it's removed from the field, you're going to have all those cards destroyed. They like being destroyed, but you also like having a lot of monsters too. Uh-oh.
And there is the Nibiru's, but the Arvada is still online here. So unless there is an additional effect failure or something, yeah, now Oak is just going to be able to send another monster. And let's see, there is 18 on the field. This 24, or sorry, it's 27 plus 12 from the Kieran.
Believe so, but we're not out of this duel yet. But
I might be exactly out of this duel. It seems like that was enough for Juan.
Go ahead and concede it.
Yeah, Juan definitely sees it. There was enough damage just on the field.
Yeah, I mean that was just simple.
You're getting drone lockbird. It cuts off win. Bell seems like good enough for now. One even chooses to start.
All right, game 2.
Start game 1, and again, as it turns out, sometimes it's just more favored to go second because you even have just a small stop. Your opponent has access to all the charmers they're able to play through your graveyard, and they have a battle phase. But now you have to play.
Ooh, double Droll plus Veiler. And the Poplar, so we did open a starter still. Second Droll actually might resolve.
Yeah, there's, I believe, 2 copies of Drone Lockbird and Effect Veiler, and a way to play. So
I think maybe we Veiler this.
Off with Diabellstar, sending the Flame Bridge here. Not necessarily as costly in the
like, I'm like, do we give him original?
You more than often play too. But
true.
Yeah, Juan stopped cold from another Effect Veiler this time.
Oh, that Effect Veiler is putting in work. If that's
no, please, Poplar, get there.
Definitely putting its work in. But oh, there's the anti-spell fragrance
with 0 spells in hand. But at least this Poplar was the only play starter here. So not going to be able to do enough at this point. He's going to be able to set the Sinful Spoils, but that's not going to really do anything to get him started. But Juan might still not have a play here. Okay, this is what I was worried about. Cameron opting to go after the Poplar here because it is his only way to start playing. But the cost of this is, this puts a Poplar potentially in his grave if Juan has a way to remove it once it's able to put itself back in the spell trap zone. If it is sent to the graveyard at any point, Juan can go after it with Hida and just start playing his own deck as well. But he will be stopped by his own anti-spell, so, you know, I wonder how much his anti-spell will hurt Juan before it helps him.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely good that Cam Valored the Black Witch, because if he didn't, then his opponent could just use original next turn, and you know that we would have just given him free value, right, when we didn't have to.
When we have these formats that are mostly monster effects, yeah, you can include the anti-spell fragrance in your side deck, but you may not see a lot of use out of it, and you may eventually rotate it out, but this is a spell-centric format, and it's going to continue to be in the future just because of how powerful those Fire King spells really are.
Do we set Imperm in the anti-spell column? I feel like, yeah, you don't.
I wonder, yeah, so this is what
I like this.
From Cam. It's a bit of a bold move, right? If you assume that Infinite Impermanence set, it probably will be in the same column as the anti-spell fragrance, but
I'm no magician, but I think he might have set it in the center column. More worried about the face-down card. It is true, though, that if he did...
Yeah, who cares about the anti-spell at this point? It's hurting our opponent as much as it's hurting us.
It depends. He might be more concerned about that face-down.
And look, we're going to see another Diabellstar. I wonder if he has to kind of get rid of his own anti-spell if he wants to play, right? And this
Damn, and his opponent thinks that it's in the
situation that Juan is...
I wonder if he gets a warning for that. You have to send them card before specialing the Black Witch.
Just blocking that other spell and trap that Juan has. Yep, and that's exactly what happened.
So he is going for the face down there, saying no to Diabellstar, and also Master Duel fans can probably imagine the bubbles on the screen crossing the field.
I mean, if it stopped him...
Yeah, I mean, normal summon Ash here is just game.
But now he has access to Dracosack.
Absolutely. 2 rank 7, or 2 level 7s combined. But I don't think we're opening up the overlay network. Looks like we're just going to go into the battle phase, attacking.
Just goes battle phase down. Feels bad, man. People say this deck is more consistent than Fire Kings, just because it plays 2 more Black Witch. Like, I don't know. Doesn't look more consistent than me right now.
But now with everybody playing various strong fire decks, there's a new fire charmer in town.
I mean, it goes to show that both Hida and Dark are very, very popular. I think it's a near staple in all of these fire extra decks because Diabellstar's a Dark, and that's just the same thing, essentially.
Well, it'll be wild to see with all the Artemises, Selines, and Effect Fillers running around if people start using Lina as well.
Eventually, the whole extra deck is just Charmers and Celine.
Working as intended, but looks like Cameron's going to go ahead and get into things. Looks like another Joel and Lockbird appearing.
Oh, it looks like he drew a Fire King Avatar.
Probably go normal summon Arvada for sure here.
The Arvada, he's able to just at least have a live target for the Kieran if it ever comes up.
Oh, he's doing the true.
Yeah, I mean, at least we can play through like pretty much every hand trap, even Imperm now.
Always a really great thing to do. And
so we're actually looking pretty good for Cam. I feel like Cam's about to win this game for sure.
To maybe search something or not. Let's see what this face down card is.
Oh my god, that's like the best card he could have had.
Very costly if you don't play a second copy because the only way to really put it back is going to be wanted, which you currently do not have access to.
However, with strong monsters on the field, locking your opponent out of doing anything when you've seen them have several flustered turns back to back, it might be the only way for him to just basically battle phase again, get rid of that Arvada, and then start his own turn.
Cam can pop the Black Witch with Kieran. It really sucks that he doesn't have another fire in his hand.
I wonder if he ever
I think
activates the Kieran to destroy the
you could kind of argue that Cam wasn't supposed to normal summon the Arvada, because if he didn't, he could have popped it in a hand with Kieran. Then he could have normaled Droll. He could have made Hida, special the Flameberg. Like, we would have had a lot of plays if we just didn't normal this Arvada. But I get why you did. Maybe we weren't supposed to play around a hand trap in the hand like Ash Blossom. We could have just played around like Crossout Designator.
For Crossout Designator because of how much engine hits, and I think that's usually when Crossout becomes more.
I feel like Cam like actually just wins the game too if he does that line, which is kind of crazy.
Always that much consistency in what everyone's playing. I mean, you can tell Infinite Impermanence is going to be popular, Ash Blossom is going to be popular, Nibiru is going to be popular, but sometimes people play.
Another thing too is like, but for Cam, you have to assume that your opponent has like only hand traps in their hand, or like a third Black Witch, because like why would they just be passing over and over and over? And then this is probably another anti-spell, definitely because he did it in the popular column. Ooh, that wanted definitely seems like a okay draw. The only problem with the wanted is you can't chain Kieran to protect your Black Witch from like an Imperm, so it's definitely not looking as good as it was last turn.
And because you have the original Sinful Spoils in the graveyard, you're able to put it back, making it live again. Might be one of the best draws you could have at the moment.
It's definitely Cameron's way into the duel.
Oh yeah, that original in the grave. So he's just gonna go +2 off this. He has original can special again, Black Witch. Wow. We still get original add though. Then we can play around like Effect Veiler, but if he has Ash, we probably just lose.
Graveyard either, I mean, I suppose he could attempt to try to put back the original Sinful Spoils and get that additional draw. A pretty strong interaction here, but I think Juan would have much rather just drawn a playable card just to like get his play started. But eventually,
So Cam is just checking if he can still use the graveyard effects under crossout.
Two Dark Magician-sized monsters can't be wrong, but you're absolutely right. The crossout designator, while it is keeping Cameron out of the duel, it's true that this duel may already have been over if Juan was able to just draw another powerful card to get in. It's kind of a pattern we've seen, right? In round one, there was also just a lot of ways to say no to your opponent, but no way to get into the game, and that's what we're seeing out of Juan, both in Duel 1 and Duel 2 of this game.
Looks like Cam is opting to use the effect of Wonder. Am I missing what Crossout Designator does? Does it actually not stop the second effect as well?
It should. Let's take a look at Yu-Gi-Oh! Neuron here so we can make sure that we have the correct text.
Oh yeah, because we can't even use original because our Poplar is on the spell trap zone. So we probably actually just shouldn't have used Poplar's effect, and then we would be able to use the original in our graveyard. Definitely learning a lot. Because I actually will choose not to use Poplar a lot, even because I want like the extra level 1 in the grave for Flameberg.
Okay, so I have to try to
on the field of cards with the same name.
I was like, oh, we'll just skip ahead a little bit.
Just that card's effects for the turn are invalid.
So the short version is no.
So wait, was he able to use it?
Easy for everyone else. If you activate Crossout Designator on a card, that card's effects for the turn are invalid. So the short version is no.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so he couldn't use Wanted.
There's no way for Cam to block out 500 points of damage here.
So we have our great Yu-Gi-Oh! Judge staff here just to make sure we do understand how the cards work. Sometimes you got your brain wrapped around it. Really gotten my deck online. I won that
Game 3.
Game 2. And then if
just kind of, I mean, unless he has some sort of Nibiru,
Gonna go to normal summon Snake Eye Ash, add Poplar.
And it looks like we're going
No Drone Lockbird. You would have to change Drone Lockbird to the hand effect if you wanted to use it.
Kind of watching these plays happen.
So Cam is playing Divine Temple and Fire King Snake Eye. I kind of like Divine Temple. Really helps you play around Nib really well. Probably gonna grab Oak here off the Temple.
This has been very popular lately.
Well, it's a great card. Obviously, you know, there's a lot of synergy and crossover between these two decks. And historically, Yu-Gi-Oh! Has always been about that. I mean, I can remember ages when Gravekeepers and Monarchs were put together, and we were like, oh, that is genius. And in the same way, having the Fire Kings and Sinful Spoils work together, I mean, it is working as intended.
We're going to now use the Snake Eye Ash, getting rid of the Oak to go ahead and summon the Flamebridge here. Divine Temple just adding additional uses for the Snake Eye cards, being able to not necessarily give away cards that actually cost you anything, but also generating the Oak in the graveyard, which is going to be an additional body once this Flamebridge happens to leave the field, which looks like right now.
Flamebridge is just such a powerful monster.
Then the Poplar gets to put one back.
I'm not sure about it, but it's obviously become a staple effectively in all of these different decks.
Interestingly, going for the Sunlight Wolf already, Flamebridge effect is going to be able to summon out 2 of those level 1 fires from the graveyard.
I'm also surprised he's already using Sunlight Wolf. Oh, he's just saving it?
Yep, Poplar's going to go back on the field. This might be an easy time to nip.
Ooh.
Already used, but you still have to deal with a likely original Sinful Spoils from the hand, because just because you search the Divine Temple doesn't mean you don't already have the other spell.
No, you're absolutely right. Looks like here it comes. Yep. There we go. Smashing down onto the field.
It's like not even that good here, though.
Go ahead and remove all these monsters from the field, tributing them off. And where are we going to put that token?
Poplar has not been used yet, so Poplar would be able to put itself, or any rather fire monster from the graveyard.
Yeah, we still have original too, so like.
Looks like it did on the Flamebridge. Ah, I see. And
you can just go original for Divine Temple. This is why, well, I'm assuming he has original because he added Divine Temple.
free to just start activating.
Maybe he didn't. I'll open it though, I guess.
Okay, so now we get to see. looks like original Sinful Spoil Snake Eye. We've also got Triple Tactics Talent, which is going to go back to the deck.
Yep, he has.
So we're just playing around original and Snake Eye Ash. Flameberg doesn't really matter.
Factors here. Talent is going to be one of the easiest ones to be able to crack the board. Just going to go ahead and remove that factor.
We also did see a Flamberge in the hand there, but I don't know if it's going to be able to push too hard considering what's on the field.
I mean, if we just have an effect negate, we're pretty much set.
Cameron considering.
I was like, he has to have tons of plays.
That's how you're going to get access to your spell here.
So really the turn's just begun.
Yeah, Cam's like so clean right here.
There's certainly a lot of different things you can do from here on out.
I feel like there's nothing to worry about. Now we just go Kieran. Or, I mean, original for Ponix. Ponix effect search.
Well, Juan's got a great poker face, right? We didn't
get Fire King Sanctuary.
It seemed like the Nibiru came right at the right time. So maybe there is something else. I don't think Joel and Lockbird is likely.
Nibiru did not come right at the right time. I mean, like, yeah, technically, I guess it did, because he did do it at the right time, but it did practically nothing. Like, you could argue because he had, like, X cards in his hand, but he did add the Divine Temple.
If there's a Sanctuary, going to be able to place that Fire King Island on the field. Cam thinking through what else he has to do, because usually you have an idea of what the combo looks like at this point, but now, because he knows the exact cards in Juan's hand, he can make a field that perfectly counters every single one of those cards, and I think that's what he's looking for right now.
Definitely a great position to be in when you know what your opponent has. You can basically,
yeah, I mean, I think Appaloosa, like, single-handedly just beats Juan's hand,
really
so...
is going to be whatever card Juan draws. And given, you know, how limited his hand is right now and doesn't have any follow-up from the Triple Tactics Talent, unless he just draws it back, there's not really going to be a great...
You can make IP Masquerena with the token.
Basically make whatever premium package. It's a
So I'm assuming Cam has a fire in his hand.
I think Tactics Poly is the card that Juan needs to draw. Maybe Cosmic Cyclone, because the Fire King Island is most likely going to remain on the field. It has to be one of those power spells, right? I don't think Engine gets you there anymore. I think you need to draw those cards that are in addition to your typical strategy and really focus on cracking Cameron's...
So you're just going to use... No, okay.
I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye to Flamberge here to grab ourselves a Fire King from the deck.
So maybe it'll end on SPIP.
I wonder, since the Sunlight Wolf is also used, I wonder if he's going to go for Kieran or Arvada here. It looks like
Arvada would feel pretty good because then you're not worried about any monster effects that you're...
I do think we want to get rid of the Nibiru with the Kieran effect.
Actually have to worry about them this turn. Is it how useful is the Arvada on the following turn? He's probably going to be able to end on Appaloosa knowing that the Triple Tactics Talents is not there. He's going to focus on getting the Kieran. He can summon back the Sunlight Wolf from the graveyard with the effect of...
So he probably ends on Amblo Whale plus
be able to be pointed to later, like
Flameberg.
The extra monster zone, I imagine, and be able
Oh,
to
he has 1-for-1 too.
Just more additional removal looking into Juan's hand.
Well, speaking of looking into hands, take a look at the extra deck. Looks like the monster of the hour is here. It's the Prometheus.
This is why getting rid of the Sunlight Wolf was actually kind of weird earlier.
Not go for that. Going to just put the Flamers back on the field. Going to be able to put the IP in the back row.
Because if we had Sunlight Wolf here, like, we get to add Kieran back and make Heat Soul. Yeah, I don't know. Knowing that Cam had 1-for-1, oh, he probably, yeah, no, knowing Cam had 1-for-1 makes, like, how he played so much weirder to me. Because I feel like we definitely could have just had a better end board with, like, if we just don't make Sunlight Wolf earlier. And just make a different Link too. Probably make Link. We were probably just supposed to make IP Masquerena first as our Link 2 of choice.
Now you also have the Promethean Princess in the graveyard.
But that's kind of like why the implication matters, because it's like, if I make the Sunlight Wolf, my opponent's really going to assume I'm going into the Apo line. So maybe that's why he did it this way. And I guess he still saves the 1-for-1 for follow-up. But I would definitely rather just have like the best board possible versus this hand. And that involves having Kieran in my hand.
To lead off with, he's going to go into the main phase, normal summon Snake Eye Ash. That is going to resolve. We'll see how far he's able to get before we're going to start activating all those effects in the graveyard.
No, if you're cheering for pure Snake Eye in this duel, at least, this is your last chance. So, Juan, make them proud wherever they're...
Like, we could have Kieran in hand, plus Heat Soul, Double draw and Flameberg with IP Masquerade in our spell trap zone right now.
Here to just put the IP Masquerade on the field. Yep, looks like that's what Cam's gonna do.
Sure. Definitely the time here. That way, right before your opponent gets anything set up, you can have IP Masquerade go and perform that Link 7 on the turn and figure out what it is you're going to do against them. But Poplar's hitting Juan's field and going ahead and activating its effect.
So this might be the moment that Cameron wants to use the effect of Promethean Princess, going after a fire monster.
Yeah, I kind of like Princess Chain IP here. The only problem is you don't have a way to trigger Garunex if you just use everything early. But I don't know. I feel like you just get destroyed if you don't do anything a lot of the time in this matchup, especially versus the pure version.
Garunix set itself up. And if you had access to Arvada elsewhere, you're able to get rid of the princess that way. Or if you just have another Karen in hand.
Now he just goes SP, banish Poplar, and then when he activates Divine Temple, he goes SP effect, banish Ash. But we do know he has Original in his hand.
You have added that card to your hand, but it just doesn't quite feel strong enough with the threat of IP Masquerena, right? There's a lot of different monsters you could jump into, and you still do have the Promethean Princess kind of lurking in the graveyard.
Yeah, we're looking for as many extenders as possible here, because you want to take advantage of those charmers to just use your opponent's graveyard to climb up into your own princess, being able to just go from a Link 1, like just 2 bodies into a Link 2 into a Link 3 very quickly, while also generating value because your opponent is likely using all the same cards you are.
Well, looks like we're going to use SP Little Knight's effect to go ahead and banish the Poplar, and now we're going ahead and searching out some little fire monsters, level 1s each, from Flamberger's effect in the graveyard.
It looks like we're going to go after the Oak as well as the Ash, not only getting them out of his graveyard, but being able to use their effects to generate even more value here. Ash is going to be able to search. I'd imagine Oak has the option to special summon or add back to hand. He might be choosing to add Ponix back to his hand here.
Yeah, that's fine.
He is.
So now we're in a position too where we have to use the SP Little Knight before we use our Promethean Princess, which is fine because we're going to use it on the Divine Temple. The reason being is because we can't destroy anything on field with Garunex. So if we use Princess Destroy, then trigger the Garunex Engrave. Unless we're destroying one of these monsters, we wouldn't have room if we destroy our Ambler Will.
Graveyard is a little jump scare. Cameron's showing it off as well for the fans, but looks like we're going back to the Divine Temple of the Snake Eye.
Was that had to be the card that was drawn, because I don't think Cam knew about that card yet.
We searched it.
Cameron, perfect information now.
Use SP.
So we still don't know what he drew.
Cameron activating the effect of SP Little Knight. Of course, since the card effect is activated, you're going to pick 2 cards. And it looks like we're going to say goodbye to Ash and SP Little Knight until the end of the turn. Unless... No, okay. Juan might have activated a card from the hand there, but decided not to do anything further.
Yep, moving the Ash is very important here because it would have been an immediate threat, being able to send either the card that was put in the back with the Divine Temple or the Divine Temple itself.
Ooh, look at all those cosmics he could have in his hand.
Any other Snake Eye monster from the deck. Just going to be able to
Shit would be scary.
push it back a little bit further, so Juan has to commit even more resources before he's able to get that far.
Ooh, he's playing Econ as well.
He's going to get something. So really, you know, it's not to put the pressure on Juan or anything, but it's just true that you're staring down so many cards and so much setup, and you know your opponent has what you have. So this is all about grit and determination. Obviously, he's an ultimate duelist for a reason, but it looks like the deck may be stacked against him, so he'll have to make his choices carefully.
Going to just be another copy of Snake Eye Ash here. I think he wants to leave the Snake Eye Oak in the deck, and you don't really want to get rid of the Flame.
Wait, what?
Monsters you want to summon from the deck.
Couldn't he just grab Poplar?
Likely used for...
He had to draw Poplar, or he sided one out, because why would you not grab that?
There is that Sinful Spoils that was added off the Poplar earlier this turn. He's going to be able to send either the Ash or the Temple. I'm probably going to go after the Ash. Keep in mind, Divine Temple is very similar to Flame.
The original was already in his hand.
So
We saw it off Talents.
Monster pushed back on Cameron's side, the Divine Temple could trigger when Cameron summons a monster to summon that monster to Juan's side of the field. So he actually wants to keep it on the field, just in case that does come up.
Again, this is going to be a fun format with all these borrowing cards. Do hear time on the round, but remember that's only for the main tournament. The featured match has its own separate clock.
Yeah, so now he's just going to pop the Oak with Princess, and then he's going to pop the Ash with Garunex. That's another reason why grabbing Poplar was so good here, because we could have used Poplar's effect, since we're going to get 2 level 1s anyway, off of our Oak, especially from the Banished.
SP Lilna here. This makes it a little bit harder for Cameron to remove both, because both of these monsters are able to use the temple to try to summon another monster from the deck.
Yeah, I don't know.
To try to remove both of
What's
these
Juan's
monsters.
deal with not liking Poplar? Like, you have a Divine Temple. That shit can special something back.
The Promethean Princess could jump into action here.
Doesn't make sense.
Princess and Kieran would remove these monsters very quickly, but Juan put himself in a position for that to happen, so hopefully he has some kind of answer for it.
It is true that he may have set up Cameron specifically for this, so whatever other cards he may have in his hand, that's when he jumps in the duel.
I do believe the last card in his hand is that Dia Bellstar, right? That we knew from the tactics? Which I believe Cam should know that too. So this puts him in a position where he should be mostly fine. Because now that the Sinful Spoils is used as well, there's not really much a lone Dia Bellstar can do.
So we are going to see the Promethean Princess, though. Hesitant to put it in the graveyard. Hard to believe it, but it is true. Promethean Princess is back in action.
And that's going to be able to trigger the Grunix. A fire monster was in fact destroyed.
Sure.
Grunix going to summon itself out in defense mode, just in case.
Yep.
Hey, you never know. Every life point counts, especially since Cameron lost quite a few.
Another really good thing about specialing stuff in defense is, like, sometimes crashing your monsters comes up a lot versus this deck. Obviously, he has 2 Link monsters in attack position, but if he didn't, definitely comes up.
They are some of historically the most powerful archetypes. But
And another kind of neat way you could play around that is he could have destroyed the Ambler Whale. Then he could have used Kieran's effect to destroy the Princess. And then he has only monsters in defense. And then he can trigger Ambler Whale to destroy anyway when he destroys Princess with Kieran's effect. So definitely something to consider. Oh, and that's how Cam wins. But yeah, so that's round 2. And Cam, I think, played pretty well. And Juan kind of just had some bad beats for sure. But that is round 2. See you guys next time in round 3. Please like and comment and subscribe. I appreciate it. Peace.